Hello.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on. I know it's a little inconvenient. Sorry. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, no problem.
So tell us about your history and what led you to seeing me, and kind of let us know kind of from there.
So basically, I mean, I've been, off, on and off. I'm 44 years old now, so in the past, taking Adderall and stuff just to focus, and then having 3 different businesses and 2 kids and a wife, and just life adding up, and it's overwhelming. Went to my general doctor and told him that I was having some issues with just stress and panic attacks and having a hard time with it. And not knowing about anything of medication or anything, he puts me on this, from what I understand, it's Boost Bar or something, like a Boost Bar or something like that.
Right.
And so I was taking that for a few months and not knowing anything about it, just following what the doctor says. And it was getting worse. I started getting more panic attacks. As soon as I close my eyes, I would wake up, I can't breathe. And then if I go into, a hotel with no windows, I freak out, even from my boxers, and I run to the elevator and I go all the way down and I run up to the lobby and I get out the front door and I breathe. I'm like, what's going on with me? And then I go on, we go camping with my family out in the desert. And this is the last time they pushed me to come see you. I was out in the desert camping with my friends and family. Everything's fine. Time to go to bed. Same thing. I just can't. As soon as I close my eyes, I can't breathe. And we went for 3 days. We're out there for 3 days. I can't breathe. I'm pounding on my friend's trailer, help me, and they're like, here's some Seroquel. That puts me asleep, and then I wake up breathing, I can't breathe again, freaking out, like, oh my God, pounding on the trailer, I can't breathe. It's the worst feeling in the world. First time in my life I've ever said that I wish if I had a gun or if I could do it, I would definitely have wanted to, because I just couldn't sleep for 3 days. I felt like I was going crazy. My wife was fed up because I kept running out of the trailer. There's nothing we could do. And so luckily I was out there with one of my friends that knew you. He says, hey, you need to go see Dr. Corona. So on the way back down the mountain, I was calling my investor. I'm saying, is there anything you'd give me to go to sleep? He's like, just come by, I'll give you a Xanax. So I drive by, I get down the hill and I go to by my investor's house and I'm telling him all the things that are happening. And he's like, hey, do you happen to be taking Boost Bar? I'm like, how, yeah. He's like, I'm telling you, man, that's the only time I've ever wanted to kill myself, because I know you as a person, I know you wouldn't do that. So the only time, that's the only time I did. And so right then and there, and then when I came and saw you, and I told you what I was taking, you're like, throw that away immediately. And then I never touched it again. And then when I first, sat down with you, I explained all my symptoms and what's going on with me. And it was the first time to sit down with a doctor, he actually listens to actually the symptoms, and you wrote everything down. Most doctors with all the past years, like I said, 44 years old, oh, it sounds like you need this, here's your prescription, have a good day. And then you go do that and you go blow your brains off, because they don't really listen to what you say.
Well, here's some Xanax, and we take this when you're bad, and they're fine. Goodbye. Yeah, unfortunate.
Right, not knowing that you're going to be addicted to Xanax.
Right.
So
exactly.
You take a quarter, now you're taking a half, and the next week you take the full. Then you're taking 15. Like some of my friends I've seen do it. It's horrible. So after talking with you, you prescribe certain things. Call me the next day or in 3 days. Tell me how I feel. Okay, I call you, check in. How you feel now? And then you up the dosage from there. It's the right way of doing it compared to doctors just do it and they never talk to you again.
Right.
And so by the time when we went back and forth, you got me on the right medication. There's one medication I didn't need because it made me feel a certain type of way. But now I'm able to do. I was sitting down at dinner with my friends that were there. Actually, not my friend that made me call you. I'm with him. And I haven't had any of those issues ever since. In fact, it's amazing that I can take certain medications to make me think normally, even with Adderall. Like, I was taking fucking, sorry, my language, Adderall, and then you told me about Wellbutrin, right? And so the Wellbutrin is actually I'm getting up in the morning, I'm getting things done, everything's working just fine. So it's just, and then my friend from Texas came into town, and his wife was having the same thing. Super panic attacks, all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, and she's addicted to Xanax, go figure, because of the doctor prescribed.
Yeah.
So now you have to get her off Xanax. I said, why don't you just go see Dr. Corona? That's the only solution, because it works. And like I said, 44 years old, first time I actually feel good. Everything is great. Business is good. Everything's fine. I don't let things bother me. I'm not depressed. I can wake up in the morning. I'm not thinking at night. My mind's not going a million miles an hour. It's I don't know, my feet twitching. It's been amazing. So
I think hadn't you gone to the ER before you saw me recently?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that was because there was a few of them, but that was when I was at my office in Santa Ana, and it just hit me really hard. I felt like I couldn't breathe. No matter, I was outside. I called my brother. He's like, just touch your face. You know, I'm like touching my face. I'm like, it's not working. I'm like crying. I'm telling my business partner, I'm like, we got to the hospital. He rushes me to the hospital. I'm going to the hospital. They come into the hospital. I'm like, no. You can't take me inside. I can't go inside. I can't be inside. You have to do it all out here. So they came outside and started asking me all the questions and same thing, but they don't really, there was no solution to my problems. They just put me on another drug that wasn't like you, where you sat down to ask these questions. And that's why I'm so comfortable going to you. It's just, I never had that feeling where you actually get cared about. And that's what we're talking about at dinner with my friend right now, saying the same thing. It's not, you're not just pushed through the system.
Yeah. And I think when you were here, actually, the first visit, you had to go outside because you were in the waiting room,
Yes, right.
and Leslie said, oh, he had to go outside, and I think he probably went outside to get some air because you were, which is very, very common with anxiety, when you just feel I can't breathe, and and then then the problem is people start hyperventilating, and then it gets worse.
Correct.
And then they feel I'm going to die, my heart's going to stop, I'm going to stop breathing, I'm going to and it just gets this vicious cycle that happens with anxiety that and people go to the ER all the time with anxiety attacks. It's so common.
And I see why. I never understood why until my best friend from Texas, he doesn't understand it, and he was telling me, he's like, I got to be with my wife 24/7. He's like, this is driving me crazy, bro. I can't be with her 24/7. I'm like, Jeff, I know exactly what she's going through, and I started telling him stories about me, and he's like, oh, it's real. I'm like, Jeff, it's beyond real. It's the real thing.
And I think as we men also struggle. I mean, men and women struggle with this all the time. I think it's tougher for men because there's this machismo thing, the image we try to portray, that we don't want to display any kind of signs of weakness, and so it's tough. It's very tough for a man to to deal with something like this because. It's like I don't want to take a pill. I'm fine, and I don't want to be weak, and so there's also that to kind of sometimes break through with men. But with where you were with having anxiety attacks, it's such a miserable state of being that it just takes one visit. It just takes a doctor sitting down with someone and actually listening. And it's people think it's like, it's such a, doctors have to listen. Doctors rush people in and out, and doctors cause a lot of anxiety because doctors just don't listen. And my one of my old sayings is if a doctor listens long enough to their patients, that they actually tell us what's wrong with them. But if you try to rush people through, and then with me also, what I find very useful is the diagrams I draw, and explaining to people, here's what's going on. Now, Boost Bar is a lot of doctors I have prescribed it off and on over the years. It's just I never really seen the great benefit from it, and other doctors might disagree with me. Maybe they have different experience with it. But I don't know. I mean, I just never seen it to be a very exciting medication. I mean, some people say it kind of works a little bit, but it doesn't work nearly as well as what you're taking. So I put you on Prestique, which is my number one medication for anxiety disorders. It helped because it also helps not only anxiety, but it also helps physical symptoms. Because a lot of people with anxiety who have muscle tension and body aches and pains and chest tightness and stomach aches and all this. And Prestique, and because it balances norepinephrine, not just serotonin, it's very, very effective. And I think with you, it's just the lowest dose. It's just 25 milligram. When
talked about that.
Yeah, because when Prestige first came out, it only came out in 50 and 100 milligram tablets. So when we had the samples of it back when, but I could see early on, like, wait a minute, something's going on, because I would give people the 50s sometimes, and they would have side effects right away. And I thought, So what I used to do, and I figured out, well, I think it's too high. So I used to have a pill splitter on my desk. And I would cut like 2 or 3 pills in the office. I'd get a little piece of paper and then fold it up and stick those inside of me and say, let's just start with half of them the first days. And since Prestige works typically within 2 to 4 days, you probably notice when you take it, how many days after you started did it start working?
Well, remember when, that was the one
the first one.
Yeah, the first one. Started working with, like, I would say the third or fourth day.
Exactly.
And then remember we got all the way up to, I think I got to 3 a day or 2 a day, something like that. And then I was like, oh, I'm like a zombie. But the communication with you is you're like, okay, you're really sensitive. You knew right away. You backed me off, So we got to a level where it was perfect. And it ended up being 1 a day.
Right.
More sensitive.
And then
go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
But that's what I say with most doctors. And when I went back to my general doctor and I told him what you prescribed me, the same doctor prescribed the Boost Bar. He says, "Oh, your doctor knows what he's doing." And my thought, I'm like, well, if he knows what he's doing, why didn't you prescribe this in the beginning?
Well, that's a long answer, because is he a general doctor?
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm a family doctor. I started training in family medicine. I never got board certified in psychiatry. I'm a family doctor, but I started really figuring this stuff out really early on. But and as a family doctor, we do get trained in psychiatry, okay, but it's not a big part of our training. And I think family doctors are doing a lot of other things all the time, and they don't really get into it. And they only are happy with, or they're only comfortable with giving certain things. They don't understand Prestige usually, which is, basics to me, but they don't understand it. So they don't really feel comfortable with it. And then they say, oh, well, go to psychiatrists. And then some people don't want to go to psychiatrists. They're very expensive. They're impersonal. They can be impersonal.
Messed up in these days. There's so many people that are walking around the streets messed up, or homeless, or because general doctors, I don't know what to say. It's just crazy to me. If people will actually prescribe the right stuff, it would fix so many things. Watching my friend's wife go through it, and she's going back and forth, going crazy. He's going crazy. Like, just go see Dr. Corona. It could be fixed.
Well, this is why I want to teach. I want to set up a training program. That's my next thing after the TV show here is to work on getting my training program going for doctors. But I've written 2 books already for them, and so I'm waiting to release those right now. But I think that I started seeing, and what happens with pharmaceutical companies is they often will when they recommend medication, they start the dose, they're too aggressive. So whenever I see a company recommending something, I always do half of what they say, and I've done that with pretty much every medication. I slow it down because I realize that they're trying to look for the quickest results, and they're not looking at the details of people who are very subtle, and even though more people are at 50 than at 25 where you are, a lot of people are at 25. And so what I do is I start at 25 for maybe 4 days, and then sometimes I'll go to 50, and then a lot of people feel better at 50, maybe more people than not. But some people don't, and sometimes we go back to 25 because you don't get any better at 50, or you get side effects. And so that's how I figure it out. And but again, most doctors will start at 50 because they don't know about the 25s, or they don't, And then if a person gets side effects right away, then they're turned off to taking it, and then they won't take it again. And that person is then lost to treatment because now it's too late to try to do anything else because you didn't slow it down, you didn't take your time with it and baby it. You got to baby it at the beginning because if someone gets if someone gets hit with side effects, it's going to scare them, or especially if they're not told what to expect, So, and then I think with you, I added Wellbutrin, right? And then
yes,
and then you're still on the Adderall, right? So.
No, I don't take Adderall. I haven't taken Adderall for years.
Oh, okay. You used to take it. That's right. Okay, that's right. Now, with the Wellbutrin, do you feel like you did a little? That helps your focus, though.
Yeah, for me, everything. I'm
Yeah.
happy on exactly what I'm on right now. I wouldn't change anything. I know we did the Topamax, or what was it that I got off of?
Yeah.
Because for anxiety, it's just the symptoms was.
You didn't like it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
What was it about Adderall you didn't like?
no, I do like Adderall. It's just being married in my past life, or not past life. I did have addiction problems with methamphetamine. And so that was, my wife didn't feel comfortable with me jumping onto something that's close to that.
Got it. Okay.
Which I don't have a problem with. I haven't had a problem with that for I don't know how many years now, 10 or more.
Perfect.
But
well, and you probably have. I mean, I think I'm looking at my notes here. I'm sure you have some family history of ADD, or not ADD, but of anxiety, depression. I think you said your mom, or
yeah, my mom.
Yeah,
my mom was on Wellbutrin.
Right.
My dad takes it. My brother takes it.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so it's something that that you're going to just stay on, and thankfully you're not worried about when to get off it, because you shouldn't worry about it. You should just stay on these. I call them brain vitamins, because they're doing something that your brain doesn't do on its own. So I think it's a simple treatment. You're on you're on what I call the dynamic duo. And I think you're gonna the rest of your life, you're never gonna have to go through that again. You're never gonna have to have an anxiety attack again.
Oh, I know.
If you ever even slightly have one, well, we can deal with it. If anything like that happens, like even slightly again, I can deal with it. I have to try something a little bit. I know I have ideas, but I don't think in your case I'll have to. I think you're gonna be good to go. So.
No, I haven't ever since we got to the right dosage. I haven't had it. I mean, like I said, you prescribe the Klonopin, but you prescribe 30 days, and that lasts me 3 months or more.
Right.
Because it's only if I lay in bed, or if I have a day at the office or some issue and I can't turn my mind off, and I keep thinking about it over and over, then I'll take a half and go to sleep.
Perfect. Well, you're taking it perfectly. You're not addicted to that. You're taking it just the way it's supposed to be, so you're good.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
I'm addicted to them.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I really, I think we learned a lot here, and I think you really helped. You really helped a lot, and you're going to help a lot of people with telling your story. So.
Right. And same with you. I appreciate you. I've never had a doctor that listens. Even the fact that I remember when I first walked in the office, I had to go out of the office. Most doctors don't pay attention to that stuff and actually care and take the time to really hear what that patient's going through. It's just, here you go, next patient, I don't have time for this. Here you go, next patient, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
So it's a breath of fresh air to have a doctor like you. So I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So in his case, again, a pretty basic case for me. So again, Boost Bar works on serotonin. I know. I'm not sold on it. I mean, I have some people on it because they said that it has slight benefits. It's not a really exciting medication. It's an okay for certain people medication. But with him, I went right to Prestige because of his anxiety, and it's the most effective thing for it. So it's serotonin and norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. So basically, it's keeping those chemicals moving forward. Before that, they were moving this way. And with his ADD history, and he was off Adderall. So again, he was off Adderall, which worked for him, but he also had a methamphetamine history, and so his wife didn't feel comfortable with him taking it, even though it works. And that's another talk about people with that history. Are some of them appropriate on Adderall? Yes, if the ADD is bad, and if it's and if they can stay away from the street stuff, there are some people that can be on it, and as long as they don't abuse it. But anyway, in his case, he's not. But he's got 3 businesses going. But I knew with him, without the Adderall, adding Wellbutrin is going to really help, because that has to do with dopamine. And now he's got norepinephrine and dopamine, the ADD chemicals, going. And so he doesn't have a stimulant move him really quickly like Adderall does. But he has these chemicals going in the right direction. So the fact that they're going in the right direction means his focus is improved, his anxiety, and so with that dynamic duo combination, with balancing those 3 chemicals, he's going to have long-term success. He'll never have to deal with his anxiety. And again, think about what he just said too. If he had a gun present, he might have actually killed himself. And that's how miserable this anxiety can get, and not sleeping for 3 days, and worrying, and having to, so I mean, he had extreme anxiety, going to the ER, and risk of suicide. So I mean, this is serious stuff. This is not This is not something to play around with. When someone has a condition like this, you got to treat it. Or you might have a situation where you leave behind a wife and 3 kids fatherless because of the fact that he did an impulsive thing because he was suffering so much. So that's how this is why this is a serious business, and why I take it seriously, because this is these are human lives here that I deal with, and I have to take it seriously, and I have to get them better.